Well, welcome, y'all. I'm Jay. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I would say if this is your first time, hello, but this is everyone's first time because this is my first time. This is going to be the first video that I'm putting out on my channel. I plan to make more content in the future, kind of talking about anything and everything. I'm not going to box myself in. I am an artist. Broad term. This actually isn't my first time recording this video. This is the second time recording this video. There are some segments that I'll probably be cutting from, or like snipping in from the first segment that I recorded. I'm re-recording this because I realized as I was recording, I move around a lot. That's also why I'm wearing this, because it's very heavy, so it kind of keeps me like stationary. Today's topic is the digital displacement of the third place. Where did we all go? So basically, we are the generation that was born with the internet. Before we get into it, because this is my first video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, whatever you may do. A like goes a long way, it's nice, and just comment, just because I like to talk to people and engage. And it kind of fits into today's theme, which is community. So let's get a conversation going. I plan to make a Discord in the future, and so once that's made, I'll like link that down and everything else. And everything else for this video is going to be linked to people that I think you guys should check out. If you guys want to recommend me people, because everything I say, I'm just a human being at the end of the day. I like to learn. I like to consistently learn. And yeah, so if I'm wrong, please correct me. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about this. We are the first, if not one of the first generations born with the internet, depending on how old you are and like when you were born, because I don't know who I'm talking to right now. We'll see what my audience is. But basically, we've all heard it. Everyone's like, oh, the third place is dead. People don't go outside anymore. People don't socialize. Everything's digital. People are absorbed in their phones. We have no attention span, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Which I agree with a lot of these points. They're right. They're true. Everyone's attention span's kind of cooked. Me personally, YouTube has always been a safe place for me. So I just enjoy long form content. But I feel like everyone's getting sucked into like the short form media. Like even some people's moms and like grandmas, they be scrolling TikTok and Instagram Reels. So one way or another, people are going to fall into that regardless. Okay, now let's talk about the third place. So the third place is a term coined by the sociologist Ray Oldenburg, I believe, if I remember correctly. And I hope I said his name right. But basically, the third place is a place that's not the first place, home. The second place, school and or work, depending on how old you are. The third place is a place where people go for community events. So think coffee shops, parks, venues, event spaces, whatever it may be. Even if I remember her name, I'll put it somewhere here or in the description. But there was this one There's this one YouTuber I was listening to a minute back, and she was saying even people's houses are a third place. So basically, even though your house may be your first place because it's home, if you invite a friend over or if you go to a friend's place, that is then a third place. That's somewhere where you're socializing, where you're building some sort of community, and especially if your friend is a great like host or hostess, in which case then it's like, okay, this is like a complimentary third space, and a lot of things can happen there. And I think that's why people really enjoy going to their friends' houses. Like I love pulling up on my friends and being like, hey, what you guys doing? Let's go. And so that's one. As we're talking about people's houses being third places. So your friend's house, your friend's apartment, whatever it may be, it's for sure a third place. I've been to some friends' apartments who have poles in their living room. And it's like, yes, this could be for you, but also if I'm here, might as well hop on the pole. I feel like a lot of people, it's poles, pools, people have gun rooms to show that off if that's what you're into. There's a lot of different things that people can like have in their house that are conversation pieces, even a conversation pit like itself. Like you're just chilling in the living room, someone has a conversation pit, some dune couches. Yeah, it's definitely something to prompt community engagement, have a conversation about whatever it may be, just pull people's interest and intrigue them.
And I think the most important thing is art, because not only is it intriguing, but also it's a conversation starter. It's something where you can talk about not only how the piece was obtained and created, but also what the piece is about. And I think that's really all some people need, is just to have the seed planted and really get a conversation going about the important things.
Okay, segment number 1, the catalyst for change. So, in a third space, if you're going out with friends, that's great, that's cool. I feel like what we've seen a lot recently with the rise of like the loneliness epidemic and a lot of like these headlines that people kind of throw around, and it's like, why are these things happening? And let's really look into it. But I think one thing I've noticed specifically, going outside, there's still a lot of events happening. There's great stuff. I'm sure that I've overlayered some clips already of people just going out and having fun and doing things, having a great time. Think one thing I've noticed is that people are less interactive with each other. So I think that a lot of people, they'll go out with their friends, they'll go out with a friend, they'll have a group, and they'll stay within their group. People kind of stay in their cliques and they don't really leave. And there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some exceptions. I've definitely seen groups of people who will like go, and I love being a part of those groups too, who go and they'll be like, oh, this person's cool, and go absorb someone else into their group, or like another group, and it's like, okay, we're all friends now, and this and that. And that's great. One thing I want to touch on more so is how people are socialized and how people go about networking. Networking can be, I guess, considered community building. You're building your network, you're building your community of people who you can work with in a professional setting, who maybe you like go out and see every now and then, whatever it may be, artistically, creatively. It's like these are people who I'm going to say are acquainted. There's a lot of acquaintances and not as many friendships as you'd think. One thing I've noticed, and especially living in LA, I'd say is that, let's put you in this scenario. You go to an event, you meet someone, they're cool, you guys talk. It might not even be an event, you might just be outside doing whatever, going having a chill day, be outside, take yourself on a date. You run into someone, they're cool, you talk to them, okay, conversation goes well. You guys come to a crossroads. Either they leave or you guys exchange contact information, whether it's number, social media, whatever it may be. All right. So say you guys exchange contact information. You guys really rock with each other. Cool. So either number, social media, something else, email, whatever it may be. Most likely it's going to be social media, depending on the contact, unless it's like something professionally, in which case you might get an email or a phone number. All right. Then what? How do you move from there? Because if this is someone you genuinely want to hang out with, maybe they want to hang out with you too, maybe they don't, but you don't know unless you reach out or unless they reach out. So then that's what's next. You have them on socials, you reach out, and you guys plan something. Now, did the plans go through? Did you fully commit to the plans, to planning the plans? Did they fully commit to planning the plans? What's really going on? Once the plans are made, do you feel like going day of? Are you tired? Do they feel like going day of? Are they going to show up? Is someone going to flake? What's going to happen for real? And if you really get past all that and then you guys end up hanging out, it's like, okay, great. That's like a new friend. That's an actual new, like, genuine connection. And that's great. But I feel like a lot of times this isn't something that happens, and it's not really anyone's fault. People are busy. People have their own schedules. People have things that go on. But also, let's take a step back into the network for a second. Because there's also people who will add you to their network. Let's network. Let's do this together. And it's interesting because it's like a lot of them aren't genuine friendships. They're networking, and they're saying that, and that's what it is. And I respect it, especially if you're being upfront. Communication is key. But also, am I a Pokemon? Are you gonna like pull me out of your network and be like, okay, it's your turn? Like, what's really going on here? And so it's interesting, and I can't say too much about it because it's LA, and I feel like everyone's trying to not necessarily use each other, but if there's something you do that I know you do, I'm going to reach out to you for it. And if there's something I do that you know I do, you're most likely going to reach out to me for it. And that's just kind of how that works.
Hey y'all, this is me in post. I don't know what's on screen right now because I'm recording as I'm editing, but I wanted to come back in this section and just add something. I'm not saying that networking is bad in that sense. I think that, especially as I said before, if people are networking and you're upfront about that and it's like you already know the context of the relationship, there's still a way to build that relationship out like professionally and have it be developed, as opposed to people who it seems like they just want something from you. And it's very interesting because on one side of it, I'm very grateful because I've definitely gotten gigs. I've gotten some work out of just people that I've met, and it's like, okay, we're cool. We've networked. You hit me up, you like got me a gig. I'll hit you up when I see someone else that like needs something like this, and it just kind of works. But then of course there's people on the other end who it's like it's very one-sided. It's like, oh, I just need you for this, and then it becomes of like, oh, are we like collaborating, or is this like something we're working on together? And so that's the one thing that I really want to touch on. But that's it.
But one thing I do want to touch on before we move to this next segment is meaningful connections, right? So a lot of these things that people are going out and they're having fun with, it's great. It's like, okay, we're going to an event, or we're going out, we're going to go have coffee, I'm going to catch up with my friend, we're going to go watch a movie, whatever we're going to do, we're going to do something. And recently I found myself more, as much as I do like going out, I like being in the party scene, I like just doing things, being, I guess, my age. It's enjoyable, but I also realize I really enjoy the times when it's just chill. I go to a friend's apartment, they pull up to my place, or like whatever it may be, we're at like a neutral area, maybe it's in the studio, whatever it is, something chill, maybe it is a coffee shop and we're just kind of sitting, chilling, doing work. It's nice, it's enjoyable, it's entertaining, and you get to really more so connect with your friends and learn who they are because you're talking to them. In a party setting, a lot of the time there's music happening, there's things going on, and it's like, okay, do we really get to have like a conversation unless we like step out for a second and we subtract ourselves from like what's going on inside, like the equation or like the party, the function, whatever it is. And I think that it's interesting. A lot of people have like party friends, and then a lot of people have like their other friends, which these can also be the same people. I'm not going to lie. It really depends on the person, like who you're with, who you want to do, whatever it is. But one thing I do want to really touch on is that really, it's the communication. Because yes, and it goes back to the cliques that I was talking about too. And people will hang out with their cliques. They don't really go out, and people aren't talking as much and just engaging on that level. And especially since the pandemic, I know like people haven't been going to coffee shops as much, and I'm sure it's risen, of course, like since the places are open now, but it's not as much as it was before. And I feel like there's a lot of things I see online, and it's and don't get me wrong, it's funny. It's funny calling everything a recession indicator, but also we've been in a recession, guys. We've been in a recession. We'll see the dialogue online and a lot of the things that people have to say, and we're all kind of going through similar things. We all see who's in office and and whatnot. And it's interesting because where are the rent parties at? Where are like the genuine like community building? Where's all that happening? And I'm sure these things are happening. Don't get me wrong; they're for sure going on, but not to the scale that they used to be. It's hot in here, so if you see me like lifting my shirt up too, that's why. But I really should turn the fan on. But yeah, it's like these things aren't really happening to the extent that they used to happen in. And it's very interesting. If there's something going on in my life or in my friend's life or something like that, and people are having issues mentally, financially, whatever it may be, spiritually, if we're not having these conversations in person, when does the organizing begin? Because people can like go, they can throw up a link, go come to this protest, blah, blah, this and that. And which, yes, it's great. I support it. I love it. But also, at some point, we need to get together as a community and build these things. The reason my brain like stopped for a second is because I thought about a conversation that I had recently about unionization. And I've talked to elders about unionization. I've talked to people my age, and I've talked to people younger than me. And it's so interesting. All the elders, I'm like, okay, what about unions? Like, if unions all came together and like centralized and they were just one central union, what would that look like? A lot of the times I got pushback. Oh, too much money, blah, 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 this and that. And you know what? Not going to fight it. Not going to fight it. But also, you'd think that if all the unions came together, it's not just the Starbucks union, it's not just as the writers union, it's not just longshoremen's union, it's not all these individual unions. If they all came together, they would have a lot more money. That's what I'm trying to say right now. And they'd be able to fight these things that are unfair, like unfair pay, or even for flight attendants and all this other stuff. There's so many things that people could fight together and pool into. And we'll get into that another time. That's not specifically what this video is about. Even people our age, I've talked to people my age that are like, oh, I'm not in a union, or I don't really care about that, or I haven't looked into it. And it's like, it would probably help you. It would definitely help you a lot, actually. And you probably should look into it, and you definitely should look into it. And younger people, they actually kind of seem to get it. It's really interesting. I feel like their exposure to the media cycle and everything else, and just online social media, they're aware. They're very aware. And I kind of like it. It's real. But it's also interesting because it's like they're young. And I kind of feel like this. I feel like we all kind of feel this way because it's like, what can we really do? But as a child, like if you're still in school, it's like, oh, like really, what can I do? And I think this could segue into a conversation about brain rot, but we'll get there when we get there. Last point. There are a lot of spaces, and I feel like I'd be doing a disservice about talking about a lack of community and not providing some sort of resolve or spaces that people can go to. I personally live in LA, so I'm going to name a lot of LA places. And then there's also, of course, other things that you can go to, buy a ticket for, or whatever. So, like, there's Coachella, there's Rolling Loud, there's all these, like, great things. If your favorite artist goes on tour, go to that. I like to go to Black Market Flea, Black on the Block. What else is there? There's things happening all the time. There's things happening literally all the time. Everyday people, hot water cornbread. A lot of these are at the Beehive, if you know what the Beehive is, in like South Central. Oh, speaking of, also, all right, little detour. This is kind of not paid promotion, but it is a little bit of an advertisement. I have a group gallery coming up, actually, a community art show on July 9th, which also happens to be my birthday because it got moved to my birthday. And so if you are in LA, if you're in like the South Central area and you know what the Beehive is, if not, you can look up what the Beehive is. It's a venue space. Come through. That'd be great. This is part of the reason why I'm making this video. It's a part of like my content schedule, but I'm also doing this for myself. And yeah, this is like, I guess it was just perfect promo. So shameless little plug. Come to my art show, or like come to the community art show and come support everyone. I'd love that. There's one place that I didn't mention though. I just went to this event not too long ago called Not Too Cool to Care. It was a Not Too Cool to Care cookout. And the reason this one is different from the other ones is because everything else I named earlier has a paywall. Not Too Cool to Care. I pulled up to the park. I parked my car. I got out. I was there. They gave me food. Michael served me. I like set up in between some trees. I had canvases, I had paint, spray cans, etc., etc. And people just like came over to where I was. They had face paint going on in one section. People were dancing. People were eating. People were playing games. At some point, I like pulled my drone out. I might put some drone footage in here. We'll see. And it was fun. People would just come up to me. They'd like paint on the canvas with me. It was some real nice community stuff, which is also going to be a part of the community show. So when you come, that is one of the pieces that's going to be in there. It's like a little collage that I did at the park with a lot of these other people in this community. And that segues us into segment number 2, the paywall. Is the cost of connection really unavoidable? So that's one question I think I'd like to answer right now. I'm going to say yes, it's unavoidable for the most part. Don't come at me. Yes, you can go outside. You can go for a walk. That's free, whatever. Let's talk more so about connection with other people. So, do you drive? Do you have a car? If you don't drive, public transportation. You might already have money on your tap card. Maybe that doesn't really feel like money you're spending. Good for you. That's still money in circulation, though, in the economy. So, capitalism always wins or something like that, I guess. But not to be a Debbie Downer. But you do drive? You have a car? How much was your car? How much is your insurance? All right. Are you paying a car note? Huh? What else? You update your registration? Have you ever had your car towed? I just had my car towed the other day. It's like almost $600. That was insane. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. We're not even talking about parking yet. We're not talking about food. You want to go out and have food with your friends? Did you guys want to go to an event? Are you going to a venue? Do you have to buy tickets? Like parking? All that. It's a lot. Gas. The cost of connection sometimes isn't worth it. And I feel like even if you have the money, it's mentally draining a lot of the times. And people really find themselves to be indoors even when they want to go out just because it's expensive to go outside. You know you're going to get food. You know your friends are going to want to get food. Even if you don't necessarily want to, if you're going to be out for a long time, you probably should. And you should definitely eat something. And things aren't cheap. Like parking, I've seen parking be like $160 for the day. I've seen parking for like a couple hours be like $40. It's insane. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. It's wild. It's wild. The cost of connection is insane. Segment number 3, the digital shift or the double-edged sword, whichever you prefer, maybe both. This one, let's take a little walk for. Let's go outside, walk with me in my little time machine of 2020. I also want to let my lights and stuff charge too. And I got this new lens not too long ago and I really like it. So guys, I also do photography if you need someone, so book me a little. But and videos. But what was I saying? Yeah, 2020. 2020 was a time. This segment is more so just going to be talking about my experience in 2020 and I guess how I still tried to keep some sort of community. And please let me know your guys' experience for 2020 and like what it looked like for you. But 2020 hit, and I remember I was like, school, everything being like virtual, and it was an interesting time for sure. School was interesting, didn't really feel like a priority like that. What else? It was like even like my prom and things like that, everything got cut. It was like I didn't have an actual prom like a lot of other people our age. I was just checking to make sure the mic worked. I didn't have like an actual prom, which I'm sure a lot of us can relate if you're like similar to my age, which I know there were like some like prom redos and like things like that, and like graduation too, and didn't care for it. I was like, you know what, whatever. I don't care that much. You guys already kind of took away the authentic experience, and I just don't want some like fake fabricated redo. And so I didn't really care for that. But one thing I do want to touch on is when the pandemic first hit, right? I joined a Discord server, and you know what was popular? Super popular at the time. Bark, 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 bark. Among Us. Among Us was super popular. So basically, I found a community like Among Us server, and that's what I ended up joining. And funny enough, this was early on in the pandemic. So this was like literally as soon as they were like, hey, you can't come in anymore. You guys just have to like stay home. Everything's going to be online. It's all going to be virtual work, blah, blah, blah. I pretty much found that server like immediately. As soon as like Among Us started popping. Funny enough, so fast actually, that the day that I found the server was the same day that the server was made. And I ended up making some really good friends off that server. So I talked to like the owner of it. His name's Angel. Shout out Angel if you're watching. What's going on? It's been a minute. But I was talking to him. He told me, he was like, yeah, it was like everyone's in the house. I wanted like some community space, and I just needed to like make the server and like have community, find people. And for me, I was like, we're kind of on two different sides of the same coin, because I'm like on the other end of it, I'm like, I want some community. I'm sure someone's made a Discord server. Let me just scroll through and like go see what's going on, and like if I can join someone's server, which I did. And then we connected and ended up becoming a moderator. So it was me, Angel, and a couple other people like in the server, and we really, it was popping. We had a couple like maybe like 3-4 Among Us games at some point going at a time, with like at least 30-40 people sitting in each like voice channel playing the game. We had like, I learned how to code bots and like put in other bots to mute people who were dead and unmute people who were like alive, and et cetera, and deafen people. It was a lot. It was interesting. And then also like making some money on the side from like donations and some other shit, which, y'all, that internet money is real. It's kind of crazy. That's also partially why I'm doing this YouTube stuff, but also just for my own sake, because I'm like, I want to produce something that I want. I'm kind of doing this more so for me, for myself, just because it's documenting, low-key. But of course, like, I journal and things too, but this is different. And especially in a digital age, it's helping me get out of my comfort zone, essentially. And yeah, and so that was like a sense of community that was really nice. It was basically just something where, because we were all, I guess, starved from like that physical sense of space, that it was something that got replicated digitally, right? And with that digital like replica, it was something that we maintained, we curated. It was like a nice space. I was a mod, so I was literally having to deal with grown-ass men telling them to like basically not act like little children, which, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that one. And so it was very interesting, for sure, super interesting. I loved it. I'm not gonna lie. Quarantine was great. Quarantine was a great time for me. I was in the house playing video games, making money, and having a shit ton of friends just on like on little online games. And a lot of these people I still keep in contact with. Like, granted, I don't talk to them on the daily, but they're definitely people that I fuck with, and they fuck with me, and we'll like see each other every now and then on something and be like, hey, like, how you doing, what's going on? And we'll do like little catch-ups, and It's cute. It's nice. It's fun. And we've played other games besides Among Us too. Like, y'all should play Gartic Phone. Gartic Phone is fun as fuck. Not gonna lie. That shit is heat. But yeah, I think that that was definitely something that was something that was hella interesting. Wow. People are gonna see that I was like a Discord mod and be like, wait, were you like,
hello, princess?
And yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that was me. I'm so sorry, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes with the little sus. Nah, his little, that shit is funny. That nigga kind of got it. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no. all jokes aside, it was nice. It was definitely a time where I was like, okay, this is a sense of community. These are people that I like. This is like a place that not only I've helped curate and like build, but also something that needs to be maintained. And so that's the next thing, is that community needs to be maintained, which is going to lead us into segment number 4. Echo chambers in disguise. All right, y'all.
Okay, y'all, this is a voiceover from the past, because the future, because I realized my mic cut out, and there was a very important segment that I need to talk about. But basically, for the last portion of segment number 3, going before echo chambers in disguise, I wanted to say that for a lot of people, these spaces, and especially the digital spaces, especially in a time like quarantine where people can't really go places physically, become a lifeline for some communities, like for queer folk, neurodivergent people, disabled, etc. There's so many different communities and groups that just need a place to really congregate, come together, enjoy good times, and also be able to help each other when times are hard. And I think that's really what was important, honestly, about not just quarantine, but about just these digital spaces in general.
So yeah, let's talk about it. And I don't really want to talk about it much. I'm not gonna lie, because I've heard a lot of people talk about this, and I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. But I think we kind of have to talk about it for a second. I don't think you can have an honest conversation about community spaces in general unless we're talking about these echo chambers as well. And I hesitate to call them community spaces. I know that's, I guess, what they are, like hard definition, because there can be a community of incels. There can be a community of a lot of different types of people that we might not want to really see in community, but they're there and they happen. A lot of people get trapped in these ideological traps. So there's maybe some values that they share, something that it is that they're missing, and the community like provides that for them or makes them feel like they can earn that somehow through the community. It definitely feels very pyramid scheme like. So it's interesting that people still fall for this, but it is something that happens. And I did talk about this a lot more in the previous recording, but for this recording, I don't feel like getting into it. I'm not gonna lie. So what I'll say on this half is we've seen the damage they've caused to society. We've seen, like, when these people really go off the deep end, all these atrocious things that happen. And it's hard because it's like, how do you deal with these people? Truly, how do you deal with them? And I think for some, you can't. That's just kind of how it is. And it's really sad, but for some, you just can't. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. If they don't want to be helped, they're not going to be helped. And that's just what it is. And I've rationalized that with a lot of different things in my life, actually, not even just when it comes to this, because some people, you just can't do it for them. And it's going to be that. There's nothing that you can do unless they want to actually do it themselves. And it's interesting, because I'm like, I also have seen some people who are like, oh, I have sisters or this or that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how can you have a partner and still actively be a misogynist? Insane. Crazy to me. And it's like that thing where it's like, oh, I have black friends, I can't be racist, blah, blah. No, sweetie. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. And not to say I understand the sentiment, but for a time I was like, I don't know. I've never really thought about it. Granted, I haven't done anything to make people say this shit. But for me, I'm like, oh, I have like 5 sisters. I grew up with my mom. Like, that couldn't be me. But I realized for other people who don't know me, it's like, I can say that, but you have to prove that. People don't know anything until you show them. And that's kind of it. And even the same way that people can have partners and then still be a misogynist because their partners just kind of let that slide, it really depends on who's around you and who these people are. Granted, my sister, or my sisters, I have 5 sisters, but right now I'm going to talk about my eldest sister. If you're watching the video, hi. You might recognize this face. This is her room because at the end of the day, I'm a little brother and I'm here to annoy. So, and also I just like being in my sister's space. But what was I saying? Yeah, my lovely sister, she used to read me this book at night. It's a wonderful book. Great book, guys. It was this book called Boys Are Stupid, Throw Rocks at Them. If I can find it, I'll like put it right here or something. Yeah, I think growing up with sisters who are actively dating and going through heartbreak and just have like some sort of love life like that, I got a lot of unsolicited dating advice, which honestly was nice, I guess, now that I look back on it, because I'm like, I'm not a dickhead. And especially like when it comes to caring about people to that extent, it's like I know what my sisters would want. I try and treat everyone like that. And it's like, also if I didn't, my sisters would give me shit for it. So double-edged sword. But but genuinely, that's just how people should treat each other. That's just kind of it. And that was the first thing. When I was writing this, I was like, oh, like, I think we should just stop socializing with them in like these physical spaces, in digital spaces. We'll just filter them out. We'll ban them. We'll like ignore them. We'll block them, whatever, blah, blah. And in my head, I was like, this is going to stop like social reproduction of like red pill content people. And hopefully, or just in general, just red pill folk. And I was like, you know, hopefully that does something. And hopefully it would. Hopefully these people don't like reproduce, at least until their viewpoints or whatever get changed. But also, these people can not only just like be born into the world, but also be like developed, because people who fall into like the red pill content cycle, if they refuse to listen, then we can go back to what I suggested earlier, which may sound kind of like social eugenics, but socially, not actual, because that's insane, but close enough. And yeah, that's all I really kind of want to say about that one, but I'm going to segue this into the next portion. Segment 5, hybrid futures and tangible hope. Hybrid futures, what does that mean? And tangible hope. So what I really wanted to do with this portion is really come across and bring some sort of resolve, like what can we do? Yes, there's like this lack of community, things are still building, maybe not to the extent we'd like them to, and maybe not in the direction we'd like them to be building in. And my thing is, we have a lot of these physical spaces, we have a lot of these digital spaces, and I think that these places need to merge. That's what needs to happen. So we need to have places that people can appear in physically, no matter like what state you're in. Maybe it's something that's just for LA, maybe it's something that travels and it's like throughout the states, maybe it's something that's international. Excuse me. And there's a lot of events like that. And I think that these also need to have community spaces or like community forums. Oh my god, I'm going through it, guys. Give me a second. Anyways, as I was saying. But yeah, I think that we need to have hybrid community spaces. So places that throw events in person, places that you can have a digital space too as well. So like a Discord, some sort of like forum, something like that, to where people can still interact and engage and collaborate. That's the main thing I want to touch on, is that these community spaces, which like individuals can collaborate with brands can collaborate with individuals. It can kind of just be a space where people can have discourse, have like these things, artistic endeavors and everything. And it's something that's built on the community. So it's like, oh, I know what this person's doing, I know what they're up to, blah, blah. And it would be a much better way of like helping people connect. And then the way that I tied it in, so I'm going to go back to the red pill content for 1 second. People kind of just don't uphold to this standard. Filter them out. I think that they cannot be invited to these physical spaces. Security can be introduced in these physical spaces. Digitally, of course, we can block them. We can report them. They can get muted. They can get like removed, banned, whatever it may be, if it's like a personal server. And yeah. And in conclusion, I think overall, the resolve for this entire video is create more community spaces. I think that's something we need to do. We all just need to, and granted, I know everyone's not an event coordinator. I'm not an event coordinator. But I think that if we just have more events, it'd be great. and not events that are like locked behind a paywall. I think just genuine community events, people just putting stuff on, you make a flyer, and even if you're not someone who puts on events, you can do something. You could do the music, you could do the graphic design for it, you could just invite people, you could make food, whatever it may be. Like I just brought paints randomly. I was like, that's just something I decided to do. So even if it's past the creation of the event, pull up to the event with something to people, for like people to engage with, and that can be a conversation, that could be something where it's like just you going around talking to people, taking pictures, whatever it may be, something. And do that. And then if you really want to, put on your own event. Maybe you want to do something, maybe you like something very specific, something super niche, and you're like, oh, I'd like this, let's try and get people to come through to this. Just put it on, just do it. That's something that's great. I feel like people just need to really start doing things. And that's something I'm also telling myself. So I'm doing this YouTube channel. I'm going to be putting out more videos. If you guys would like to see videos about other things, go ahead, put it down below. I have a few ideas that I'm going to be talking about in the future. And so I'm going to start on the script on those very soon. I'm about to head to a show right now for some of my friends. So community, go support your friends, go to their shows, go hang out, go to shows with your friends, even if they're not theirs and they're just going. Go outside, go do things. Maybe don't go outside. Invite your friends to your place. Put on a barbecue, have a cookout, hop in the pool. It's summertime, guys. It's hot. It's hot as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, that's kind of it. If you like this, if you stayed all the way to the end, thank you. I love you. You're so great. Comment something random about like blueberries or some shit. If you're free July 9th, come through to my gallery with all the other artists. They're great. And yeah, outside of that, like, subscribe, whatever else people on YouTube do, and I will see you guys soon. I'm excited to really get into like this long form content, because this is something I've wanted to do for a minute. I'm very soft spoken, and for a lot of my life I've been kind of like shy and maybe a little awkward ish, I guess, but these are also topics for another day, so I'm not going to touch on it too much yet. But yeah, love y'all. I'll see you soon, and yeah, have a good one.